So we're going to be talking about all 7 Canadian teams, specifically 2 that we're going to get into, and we'll maybe talk about the Canadian Olympic roster as well near the end. But let's get started. I want to start with this team, the Edmonton Oilers, who, I don't know if you agree with me, have the most pressure in the NHL because of that contract McDavid has. Currently sitting at 6th place fifth place, right?
5th place in the Pacific. They have a 9-4 record, but they've also played more games than anyone else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you're looking at the situation for the Oilers, again, a lot of pressure because it's clear that the message Connor McDavid sent was, I'm giving you guys 2 more years.
3 including this.
3 including this year to see if you could be a cup contender or I'm probably going to be out. Now you're looking at the Oilers being in that pressure and now underperforming. And then again, it is the Edmonton Oilers. They do suck in the first half of the year, most of the time, first 2 months of the season. But we're seeing clear issues. This goaltending duo that hasn't been changed is really, really bad. Defensively, they have gotten worse. A large part of that, in my opinion, is due to Matthias Ekholm aging and coming back of injuries, and Evan Bouchard has not done anything defensively. So if I'm looking at a year that I'm very concerned, it's probably this one. But then I do have that thing where like they do start off slow in the back of my mind, but it's gonna be difficult just because you gotta rely on young players to step up, and they haven't so far.
So here's the problem, right? I agree with you. The last couple of weeks, even on this episode, on episodes that we've done in the past, we kept saying, oh, it's the Oilers. They will probably found their bounce back. But this is not the same old Ducks. We know the Golden Knights are going to be good, and the Kings have turned it around from the beginning of the year as well. And the Kraken are right there. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2. Yes, you got Zach Hyman back now, because that's why I'm a little less on the... Like, we're not doing no panic meter episode. We talked about it a little bit last time. But now you lost Nuge to IR, right? One of your consistent players in general. Before I pull up the stats of some of these players, and the issue is they've lost pieces compared to the years before. Like, obviously, Evander Kane did not play last year in the regular season, so I'm not going to count that. But Corey Perry seems like to be a big loss now. Like, realistically, he's just being a big loss. So you're banking on guys like Matt Savoy and Isaac Howard to come up and provide you with production. Young guys, I believe the rookie years, or at least if Isaac Howard for sure. I'm not sure about Matt Savoy. I believe it is also his rookie year. That's a lot of pressure. Yes, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl can make anyone look good, but you also need to be smart enough to play with those players. It's easy to say like, oh, me and you could play with McDavid and we'll get empty nets, blah blah blah. But the one thing that, like, for example, us being Canucks fans, and we keep saying like playing with the Sedins is easy, but what people say about Alex Burrows is he has the IQ to play with the Sedins and know what they're gonna do. You need to have that as well. And with McDavid being fast, you better be fast with them. So it's like square one once again for these guys from a couple of years ago, right? One, they already have mileage from being in 2 cup finals in a row, 7 games and 6 games, in the finals specifically. And then it's like they do not have the wingers. Andrea Mangiapane has been a disappointment so far. We'll see what Zach Hyman does now when healthy. Jack Roslovic, good at. Like, he's gotten them a few overtime wins. And to be honest, you said, what, 9-4 was the record or something like that? There were some games this past week, they locked the hell out. They got lucky on one offside call that went to overtime, and Roslovic got an overtime winner. He got another overtime winner, and Draisaitl scored another overtime winner in 3 games in a row.
You got that random, well, it's not random, but like the classic Oilers comeback against the Blue Jackets where they were down big and they scored all their goals in 3rd period. And there were some fluky ass goals in that game as well.
Yeah.
Where I believe like the Blue Jackets somehow scored in their own net or potentially like gave away the puck in their own end. It was a weird deflection that went in. But, okay, I know you're bringing up the concerns offensively, but you're also looking at the team defensively. This is a team that gave up the most goals in the NHL so far. Obviously, a lot of that has to do when they lost 9-1 to the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
82 goals allowed. That's a lot, man. I just don't understand how they could come back after 2 cup finals and not make a change in net. I just don't understand that because I don't know what evidence you have of these 2 being the answer. Defensively, these guys are obviously has no help. They're digging themselves a bigger and bigger hole each year. The legs are more tired. McDavid has a lot of minutes on him. Draisaitl has a lot of minutes on him. Even Bouchard, who is a good playoff performer. You're just seeing people not perform right now, and I get it. These guys pick it up as the season goes on. I do. But if there's a year to be concerned, it's now.
Like
because literally they can't outscore their problems. That's what they've done the last couple of years in the regular season. They can't do that right now because one, they can't score, and they're conceding a lot more than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, like they're tied for 18th in the NHL for goals scored. They're 28th in goals allowed per game at 3.48. Listen, McDavid at 30, he's playing well. 30 points, 21 in 21 games. That's classic McDavid. Obviously, he might be a little bit, maybe average-wise could be a little bit more, but that's asking a lot. Draisaitl at 24 points in 21 games. That does not sound like Draisaitl at the moment.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good stats.
It's not Draisaitl level good.
That's true. Look, it's still an impressive thing.
But
for an
again,
NHL player, but he needs to be at peak Draisaitl level.
But the other thing is that my point. His wingers right now are Andrea Mangiapane and Vasily Podkolzin.
So maybe they're not finishing as well.
Exactly. That's the other thing. Like I could box stat watch all I want. We have to obviously watch the games to see. The problem, as much as I want to say, okay, yeah, they're gonna figure it out. But man, you go game after game. They got a brutal loss against Buffalo the other day. They just had a high scoring loss against the Capitals today on the day that we're recording this. Game by game, you're looking at it, and it's like, bro, and now the Pacific is leveling up, especially with the California teams. Obviously, I think San Jose is still a year or two away, but the other two teams are still going to be there. And your point for the goaltending, it makes a lot of sense. Here, we always hear that American Thanksgiving to be exact, is when we see what teams...
You can start separating teams.
Yeah. The problem with this year is when you look at the NHL, who's really selling? Calgary, which we'll talk about slightly later. They're not trading you any of their goalies they have, like especially they're not, no way in hell they're trading Dustin Wolf, let alone in the division. Then you look at St. Louis maybe, and then they're the king of comeback sometimes. And like, are they gonna move off of guys? Nashville is another team we're looking at, but that's about it. Like if you look both Eastern Conference divisions, it's jam-packed tight. So it's not even just an Oilers thing. Like this is, again, we're gonna talk about the Canucks later with their second line center issue. Who is really selling at the moment? Because I 100% agree they need to address the goaltending, but it's not easy at the moment.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm just saying, like, even coming into the season, at the moment, is terrible. Like, it's going to be even harder. But even coming into the season, that just a major, like, I think those alarm bells ringing when they were coming in backing up on Skinner and Pickard. That just had my alarm bells ringing. And right now, with the defense playing worse and the offense not producing at the same level as it once was, it just literally, one thing is falling apart at a time and things are unraveling week after week, whether it be each aspect of the game. And now you're looking at a situation where you're seeing a potential dumpster fire almost.
But so to close it out with the goaltending a little bit, and one thing about the coaching as well. Listen, UC Saros, Jordan Bennington are available. Jordan Bennington's been asked this year. Like, we're going to talk about Canada later on in the hockey team, and I am concerned about that. But if you're the Oilers at this point, like Connor Ingram, from what I'm hearing, is not doing well in the AHL level. He's obviously trying to come back. And we knew Connor Ingram in the past has been solid when he played for Utah / I guess Arizona back then. But those are two goalies you might need to go out. UC Saros obviously hasn't been the same UC Saros with Nashville. But do you still believe in the guy is the question? I feel like I believe in both of those guys better than what they have right now.
Well, anything is better than what they have right now. So do they go
out and make that move now? Like, obviously, in-season goalie changes are tough to do. We'll get it. But that being said, you still have 2 more years with McDavid after this season. I'm not saying this year is a waste or anything like that. You have pressure, right? It's cup or bust. You can't get to the final and lose again and be the new Buffalo Bills of getting to the finals and losing 4 in a row, essentially, right? So overall, like, that's the goalie side of things. Like, again, it's hard. Everybody's like it's jam-packed in the middle. We probably have to wait till Christmas to see now when people are really going to separate themselves even more and what teams are going to be smart enough to move off the thing. The last thing I do want to say about the coaching. There's no rumors about this. I'm not saying they're going to move off of Knoblauch because like what they did a couple of years ago with Jay Woodcroft being fired and they brought in Chris Knoblauch and moved on. I'm not saying that's the case, but because like people are saying, Pete DeBoer is out there, it's going to happen. Knoblauch is going to get fired. I feel like they're going to be stupid to move off of Knoblauch with how good he has been for the last 2 years. And just to get a bump with Pete DeBoer, who obviously I believe he's still a good head coach, but Pete DeBoer had goalie issues with Marc-Andre Fleury and had goalie issues with Jake Ottinger. He's going to lose his head with this goaltending, that's for sure.
Maybe that's what you need.
And a guy who doesn't get to the Stanley Cup final often.
Yeah, but like that's what you need. If this guy loses his head on good goaltending, which is obviously, you're looking at more so on Pete DeBoer.
Yeah.
In this situation, if Pete DeBoer is losing his head, you're not looking at Pete DeBoer. You're looking
at the goalies. But but everybody could see that. But my point is, Chris Knoblauch shouldn't be fired.
Oilers are like the king of getting a new head coach bump, so I won't be surprised if it happens. But I do agree with you. I don't think he should be fired.
But moving on to another team that we have to be very, very concerned about. We're going to the Eastern Conference. We're going to talk about.
And honestly, when I'm just looking at it off the bat, you're looking at similar concerns. Like everything.
Oh, wait, but here's the thing. The Toronto Maple Leafs is who we're referring to. A team that I know that they're lucky they're in the Atlantic Division and in any time could move up. But similar to us being Canucks fans, watching the Oilers play, when you watch this Leafs team play, they've been atrocious.
Yeah.
Overall, they have major injuries. Don't get me wrong. But so do the Canucks. So do the Lightning. So do the Panthers. Name it. A lot of teams have a lot of injuries, and it sucks. Like, you have a valid excuse with the injuries. Don't get me wrong, especially your top guys being out. First of all, the NHL needs to look at this because it is the condensed schedule, and the way they fixed it was making it 84 fucking games next year and onwards. How does that make any sense when every 2 years you're gonna have World Cup of Hockey and the Olympics? Which means condensed schedules. It's been a major problem. This is not just the Leafs thing. I'm talking about, like, this is across the NHL. We're seeing injuries.
The NHL,
with the exception of Jack Hughes,
yeah,
of this year specifically.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just nuts to say that they're going to 84.
Even Eetu Lissolainen, who I think had a barbecue
accident.
accident.
Barbecue. Yeah, that was the thing I was thinking of.
But like, no. Here's the thing: they're under UEFA and FIFA shit.
Yeah,
that's what they're on. But like, look, they made a very successful thing with the Four Nations.
Yeah,
and I do praise them in exploring in international hockey and all that stuff.
To the point where the NBA is trying to do that world versus
but
US
at the end of the day, it's gonna come out at the cost, and that cost is players' health. Because now we're looking at Austin Matthews, who's might be dealing with a serious injury himself.
Yeah.
And we've seen Chris Tanev
and
get stretched off of
and
ice.
some of these players are not going to rush back because it is an Olympic year.
Exactly.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you're in a bad situation. Like, I wouldn't blame Quinn Hughes if he wasn't fully healthy to come back for the Canucks. Yeah. Even though he's back, thank God he has 10 assists in his last 3 games. But overall, going back to the Leafs, here's the weird thing with this team is, first of all, I'm going to list off their injuries. Anthony Stolarz, IR. Chris Tanev, IR. Scott Laughton, IR. Austin Matthews, IR. Brandon Carlo, IR. Nick Waugh, out. Matthew Nyes at the moment day-to-day. And Sammy Blais day-to-day. But here's the thing I want to say about the Leafs. Yeah, I was for Canucks legend. But with the Leafs, losing Mitch Marner, we were concerned about the offensive production. And Matthews did not have the greatest start of the year. Nylander was fine. And we thought replacing him with Nick Waugh, Dakota Joshua, a level higher of Matthew Nyes, guys like Easton Cowan, Mateus Michelli. The goal scoring hasn't not been the problem. Even though at the end of the day, you cannot replace what Mitch Marner has done for you as a player. Like, you can't. Like, you drove him out of town. You gave him the scapegoat. Yes, was he struggling in the playoffs? But so was everybody else. Like, let's be real, right? They made Mitch Marner the scapegoat, made him look like the bad guy. Now, his comments don't help with sometimes what he says, but you cannot replace talent like that in the NHL level because you're not getting production from Dakota Joshua, really. They're, again, not at the same level. You're asking a top-line center to be replaced by third and fourth line guys at the moment. And listen, Matthew Nyes is a good player, but you're asking him a lot to take a step forward. Winger. You're not asking a top-line winger, and you're getting a bunch of these guys to do it. But the funny enough though, goal scoring hasn't been the issue in the NHL.
Credit goes to John Tavares on that too.
Yeah, John Tavares is like, he's been really good. Like, he had underrated Canada shouts this year. He's not gonna get it. I get that. Like, they're 4th in the NHL right now in goals per game.
It's the same thing. It's the goals against.
They're at 9-9-2. They're currently 7th in the Atlantic. The problem has been their defense. It has been a complete disaster compared to last year. Last year they were really good defensively. And I even before the injuries, did not look great.
Yeah, with Tanev on the ice too.
And now that you have Tanev out especially, your glue guy, good luck. Your goaltending has not been great. This year, Anthony Stolarz hasn't looked good. Joseph Woll is out. Now Stolarz is out. You got Joseph Woll back in, and we'll see what he does. But overall, they're 31st in the NHL in goals allowed per game. This team, even when healthy, to be honest with you, have reached a level of mid at the moment. Unless we see some superstar stuff from Matthews again. This team, when health, as of right now, like, I do not think they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's very fair to say. Especially
even when healthy, I wouldn't think they would be making the playoffs.
Because, like, what reason do you have to have that shout in the first place?
Yeah.
Because even if they can outscore their problems, the rate that they're allowing goals is just at too high of a rate. Anthony Stolarz was really good last year.
Yeah.
But a lot of credit does go to their defensive play and what Craig Berube did for them. And bringing in guys like Ekman Larsson, who obviously did his thing.
By the way, is their best defenseman this year and has arguable Sweden shouts now.
Yeah.
Because he's been that good this year for them, for their level.
And then Chris Tanev last year. And obviously now, it's just been Oliver Ekman Larsson. And
they brought in Troy Stetcher from waivers. And who's somewhat of an upgrade for some of these guys.
Yeah, defensively for sure. But
By the way, Stetchers, this is like a third or fourth Canadian team.
Yeah.
Edmonton for sure. I think he was in Calgary, if I'm not mistaken. Now it's Toronto and obviously Vancouver because he's a Richmond kid.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, it's fourth.
Anyways, continue.
When you're looking at goaltending, even from last year, like coming in, you're looking at Stolarz, you're looking at Walt, and you're not seeing like Connor Hellebuck level goaltending, right?
Yeah.
Like where like he, even if you don't put a defense ahead of him, you're still gonna have a chance of winning a game. The reason why these two goaltenders had success last year is because defensively they were good.
Yeah.
And obviously, and they played. I'm not taking any credit away from them. They played really well too, especially Anthony Stolarz, who was
he deserved the contract extension he got.
Yeah, and that is incredible. But at the end of the day, these are goaltenders that are going to need help and require help to be successful. Big example, Aiden Hill, which in Vegas, and we see him be successful, but he also stepped up and did his fair share. This year, we're not getting from both sides. And obviously, it's unfair to criticize Wall just because he was out due to personal reasons. So we'll see what he can do. But Stolarz wasn't providing his fair share. Even when he called out his team, ever since then, his play went downhill.
Yeah.
Before that, I could argue where he was playing decently. But ever since he called out a team, his play went more downhill. And again, defensively, we know that these guys have not been playing really good. But they don't have like those elite level names that could, even with no defense, you still have a chance.
And the other concerning part is, like I mentioned, their offense hasn't been terrible. Like again, they're getting goals, but do you believe that in a long-term situation with, like, at the end of the day, none of those guys are going to replace what Mitch Marner does?
No.
So, and listen, you do not have the blanket.
You can't replace.
You better
it's
hope
very
the
hard
Raptors
to place 100 points.
You better hope it's like 2016 where the Jays went on a slight run, not like a crazy run, but then on top of that, the Raptors go on some like playoff runs because this year you're gonna have all the attention. At the end of the day, Edmonton has the most pressure in the NHL, regardless of Canadian team or not. You guys are Toronto. You guys are the biggest market in Canada. And at the end of the day, you need to be better defensively because I don't know what the difference was. I don't know if it was like something Lalonde is now in and he brought different systems overall, but this cannot happen. But there are some players you could look at they could potentially trade for. And this is where I want to talk about slightly Calgary, and it relates to all the NHL. The one team that you could see selling pieces. They have Toronto has Brad living as their GM. Where was he before? Calgary Flames. Who do they have available that they could potentially get? Rasmus Andersson, Nazem Kadri. The Leafs, I don't know what their assets look like, what the cap space situation is like at the moment, because obviously they don't have the Marner money to worry about. Can they get Kadri and can they get is it Rasmus Andersson to help up defensively at the moment? And this is the only thing we're going to talk about Calgary. Calgary's out of the picture, right? We're not going to take too much time on Calgary. So Calgary fans, I'm sorry. You guys are done. You guys are looking to rebuild at the moment and probably sell pieces.
Rasmus Andersson got a 3.9 in today's game, so you can just tell that he's just trying to get out.
Maybe,
and
get
show
the
that he's a valuable piece to add.
But overall, like this is the only thing we're going to talk about Calgary because there's not much to talk about. They are the worst team in the NHL in my opinion, which means, by the way, I was right. In terms of, as of right now, preseason predictions, I look right at the moment.
I mean, Calgary scored 6 goals today.
Which is also unheard of for that team.
Which is unheard of, yeah.
But who'd they play?
Buffalo.
Okay, which I'm not saying that's... Like, Buffalo's been up and down themselves, but overall, like, they have pieces you could try to get and move off of. That's the last thing I'll say about Toronto. Listen, at the moment, I know you have the standings out. Do you really see them somehow getting into the playoffs, even with players come back healthy? Like,
no,
Boston looks good. Swayman is stealing them games.
Yeah. Detroit's not letting up. Detroit's not letting up. Tampa Bay's kind of finding their form again.
And
Ottawa's still in the mix.
Yeah.
Do I think? Then again, Ottawa needs to get Brady Tkachuk back as well.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen
Ottawa
at full force. We definitely haven't seen.
Out too, I think.
Yeah, we definitely haven't seen the Florida Panthers at full force, and they're doing their thing. So yeah, no, like I said it before, like there is no evidence on the ice. There's no evidence in the standing base where I have any faith that.
Yeah.
That I can convince myself that these guys are going to have a playoff chance.
So,
but yeah, no, that's it for Toronto.
So that being said, we already talked about.
That's already Calgary.
We already talked about Calgary. Let's stick with the.
I want to go to Montreal here. And
yeah.
Because
they have also.
I need to retract that comments that I made a couple of weeks ago.
What?
Where one that they're ready for this year, and that they have escaped the thing that they had last year, where they're on a hot streak. And then they go on a cold streak.
And now
right now they're on a cold streak because they had a positive goal difference.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a lot of
and then they lost massive, like blowout games in back-to-back games, I believe. I need to pull up.
I have it up. 7-0 to the Stars, 5-1 to the Kings. And this is after beating the Mammoths 6-2. And then, they lose to Bruins in a close game and a shootout loss to the Blue Jackets.
Yeah. So we're back to the conversation of last year. And again, do I think they took a step forward? For sure. 100%. Yeah, I agree with that. That impressive run they had in the beginning was huge. But the concern for me is where I didn't want to, or like I did crown them. I was like, yeah, they're a cup contender for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing that's holding them back is these type of runs. Because it's not even that like, yeah, okay, whatever. You had a bad stretch, 4 or 5 games now where you haven't played your best hockey. The issue with me is that you're losing 7-0 and you're losing 5-1. Like, those are big losses, in my opinion. And that's where the concern is a little bit. And I get it. They're a young team. They're going to figure it out. They're going to learn. They're going to get the experience.
Yeah.
But this is the issue, because we've seen this team now in the last year and almost a half or season and a half where when they got bad, it goes really bad and they can't stop it.
Yeah.
If that happens in the playoffs, you only have 4 losses in a round.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Patrick Laine out, Kirby Dach out, Alex Newhook out. Sam Montembeault has been one of the worst goalies in the NHL himself, but Jacob Dobich has been good to keep him afloat. Obviously, a couple of bad losses here and there. So, obviously, we're talking about the big concerns of
he's getting I won't say a checky at starts.
Yeah.
But because that's going to be Dostal. But obviously, he's like kind of bona fide his position to make that roster.
But here's the thing, right? What I'm going to say. Like, we're obviously making this video of, like, are the Canadian teams in trouble? That's essentially what's going to be the title of this video. And listen, Montreal, do I think they'll bounce back? They've shown it last year that they're going to be able to bounce back.
Yeah, 100%.
But this is where lacking, like Kirby Dach's injury status is the one big concern about them. Patrick Laine, we obviously know what his injury status is like, but we know he's not at that level it was when he first got drafted by Winnipeg. So the concern of the second line setter, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, amazing. The concern has been the second line setter. Again, this is where Calgary might come in a little bit, or let's see who else can potentially get available for them to get. But this is you're lucky that they had a good enough lead that it is close in the division. But do I have more faith in these guys or Toronto to bounce back? 100% it's Montreal, the way they've been playing to start the year. They'll find a way back. But yeah, the concerning part for them, for me right now, is this recent stretch, and can they overcome it as soon as possible? Because yeah, like losing 7-0 is not good at the end of the day. But regardless of the thing, you have the talent. Nick Suzuki is playing amazing. You should be able to bounce back. Let's see what they're like in their next games against the Capitals, the Leafs. We'll see what ends up happening. But hopefully they're able to bounce back, because right now it is somewhat of a concerning stretch. Next up, the final team in that Atlantic division, it is the Ottawa Senators. The problem with them, like outside of obviously Brady Tkachuk being hurt and they had some injuries, for me, it's just like the inconsistency. Like I know you brought up Allmark and he's been up and down, but like just the overall inconsistency. Again, you're in the Atlantic division. You're in the picture, right? You're not how Calgary Flames are in the Pacific, or the Blues and Predators are in the Central. You're right there. We've seen the good stretches. We've seen the cold stretches as well. They need to find some sort of consistency to be back in the playoff mix.
I mean, classic Travis Green.
Yeah.
It's basically.
I mean, if it was the Canucks, they were like the Canucks took over the worst penalty kill.
Like, has Travis Green put together when he was Canucks head coach like back-to-back really good years? I don't think he has.
No.
Right, so obviously you're coming.
I mean, he only had that one good year, which was that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess similar thing where you can't follow up a good year, but overall, like I do believe they're coming back to more of last year as we have progressed, which is obviously a good sign. But again, the inconsistency obviously is throughout the whole roster, and throughout the whole organization. But the biggest one, in my opinion, is still Linus Ullmark. And if he could get back to his consistent level performance, this team's going to be in a much better spot than they were in the beginning of the year.
It was a stretch from October 30th to November 11th. So 6 out of 7 games where they went past regulation. So they at the minimum, they got points. Some of them were wins. Obviously, some of them were losses. They got a couple of really big wins against the Boston Bruins, a 1-0 loss to the Kings, which is obviously a tough loss. We'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, for these guys, is can they just want to get Brady Tkachuk healthy? 2, can they just put a stretch run of like really good games like they did last year and solidify them in terms of the top 3 mix? So that wraps up the Eastern Conference. Time to move over to the Western Conference. I will let you. We talked about the Oilers. Do you want to go with the Jets and end off with the Canucks, I guess? Yeah,
I mean Jets. Let's make it quick as well. Are they at the 15-1, 14-1 start they had last year? No, and honestly, we don't expect them to be there. But the Jets are still a top team in the Central Division, a competitive Central Division. And
I'm just a little like.
I'm not saying they're perfect.
No. I'm just saying like what's concerning me as this recent stretch right now is that Colorado by far and away only one regulation round. They're the best team in the NHL. Maybe the other team that can compete with them right now is the Carolina Hurricanes.
But like at the end of the day, that doesn't change the fact that the Central. That doesn't change the fact that the Jets are a top 3 team in the Central.
No, I get that, but they're not. They're like last 2 years. It was clearly the 3 teams. Yeah. Right? This year, I feel like they're.
It's more competition. Yeah. Now, literally, I mentioned that, but like let's be here. If you're picking teams, you're picking the Jets in the Central Division to be your top 3.
At the moment, yes.
Well, obviously at the moment, yes, but even in general.
But I'm saying like right now, like, I'm not Chicago. I'm not even talking about Chicago. I'm looking at Utah, where I'm like they could challenge them for that third.
Obviously, they could challenge them, yeah. But like, if pick your top 3 in the Central, predict the Central right now.
If I'm going to predict it as
pick
of
your
right
top
now?
3, yeah. Who's going to be your top 3?
Obviously, Colorado, Dallas are 1 and 2. Winnipeg just barely ahead of the Mammoth for me.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, but you're just having. I mean, at the end of the day, like we did say a week ago, where like the top 4 is clear, where Utah isn't that thing, and they extended the top 3 into a top 4 more so, even though Chicago has something to say about it still. And Minnesota have gone better in the last few weeks as well. But overall, like at the end of the day, the Jets has to be the least concerning Canadian team.
I was going to say that. If I were to pick the least concerning Canadian team, it will be the Jets. However, it is still fair to say that compared to the last 2 years, obviously we're not expecting them to be a high heater, but again, similar to Montreal, the recent stretch has not looked good. They've been allowing a lot of goals as well. So overall, we'll wrap it up there for the Jets. That's fine, but it is like, again, the concerning factor is like, are they going to miss the playoffs? Ultimately, I'd be like, if I were to pick one team, lock it down, that's going to make the playoffs out of all the Canadian teams, it's probably the Winnipeg Jets. I'll give you that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a little bit of concerns of the Canadian teams. We are seeing a little bit of a regression compared to the last 2 years overall. But to wrap it off with our team, the Vancouver Canucks, again, they're just a mid team, 500. Like 1 week we come here saying we're gonna have a rant, they should rebuild, and maybe we'll do a video one day strictly about the Canucks rebuilding. But it's talking to deaf ears at this point, because unless ownership changes or changes their mind, we know that's not gonna happen. At the end of the day, we're seeing a better Elias Pettersson. We're seeing a better Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is back to like superstardom at this point again, like how he wasn't at the beginning of the year. The problem with them is this. Similar to Toronto, it's not the offense. We thought this team was going to be you thought hands down their identity is going to be defense. Clearly, it's more Bruce Boudreau hockey than it is Rick Tocchet hockey. Yeah, and that's the big issue.
It goes both ways too. It's not just because of how Adam Foote is deploying it. It also is on the players. Like, and the biggest one is Marcus Pettersson.
And Tyler Myers, so that pair.
And Tyler Myers. It just feels like they just forgot how to defend in the NHL level.
They're not playing structured hockey.
Yeah.
Tyler Myers looked really good under Rick Tocchet because it was structured hockey.
And of course, does a lot of the blame does go to Adam Foote in that sense for sure. I'm saying that, but it can't be to the point where like you genuinely don't know how to play defense anymore as well. Yeah. Like, and the situation with Elias Pettersson is that this guy is literally every single time he's on the ice, he has to start from his own zone. Yeah. So he, like, other than power plays, when does he really have the opportunity 5-on-5 to start from the other side? And he's getting his point production up too. Now I think he's almost up to a point per game. I think I think his pace is at 70.
I think he's 2 points below right now to make it a
like 77 to 80
it went from
50
range, to 70. Yeah.
So he has been playing better offensively.
The last 4
he's
games
been an absolute monster defensively. Like at the end of the day.
Which is scary because he's blocking a lot of shots. He's leading the forwards by far.
Yeah. I know he's paying $11.5 million and you want him to point produce as well, but the way this guy is playing defensively is very impressive.
Again,
and he deserves credit.
Mentality-wise, he's showing he cares. He wants to win games as any way possible. For sure. So, offensively, yes, there are the concerns a little bit. Yes, at least their power play is turning around a little bit. I mean, we're seeing a better Elias Pettersson. I need a better Evander Kane, especially come defensive side of the
this guy's been so useless.
Shaver Sherwood's having a contract year where I'm scared if I'm the Canucks to pay him.
The issue of like you're getting production, which is obviously a concern, and you're scoring goals. Yeah. The issue I have offensively is that is it sustainable? Yeah. And the other thing sustainable. Obviously, you expect Kane to score more. DeBrusque is on like literally the definition of hot week and cold week, or hot 2 weeks
hot
and
month and 2 cold months.
Exactly, when it comes to goal scoring especially. So
all his goals I think were on the power play, by the way.
Yeah, obviously that's gonna be a big concern. So in like 2 weeks or so, we could be saying that this offense has been dreadful now. Yeah, but defensively.
Overall, defensively, like listen, I love what Tom Wielander is doing. He's still a rookie, young guy, right? Like obviously people are like a preseason struggle, but like his skating is crazy. Elias Pettersson, again, big body. I like that pairing for the future. We'll see when's that happening. But here's one thing I want to say with, again, Thatcher Demko kept them in games at the beginning and now he's hurt, unfortunately. He was, I think, above in goals saves above expected.
And like
Kevin Lankinen needs to make more saves, I get that.
But we shouldn't be surprised that Thatcher Demko's hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying just because of an injury history, just because
just the style.
Just the way what we are doing and what we're displaying on ice is like our goaltenders have to face a barrage of 35 plus shots every single night while we're only producing 15, and then we are scoring, which I'll give him credit to.
Is that shooting percentage sustainable, like you said earlier?
Exactly, but that's obviously a question mark. We'll probably that question will be answered in a couple of weeks when we're seeing where they are. But again, defensively, there's so many high danger chances allowed that to the point you can't really put the blame on Kevin Lankinen too much. And Thatcher Demko, who was elite goalie and shown why he's elite goalie, kept you in it.
He wasn't Team USA talks too.
The issue is that every time this guy goes down is when he's facing those barrage of shots, barrage of chances, barrage of grade A chances as well.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing. And then two things I want to close it out on. One, terrible penalty kill is back to the Travis Green.
Yeah.
Obviously, that doesn't help. If Bluger and Forbort are injured and we need them back ASAP. But this is the one question I want to lay out to you right now. Yes, they're within reach. Like every team in the NHL essentially in their division for the most part. Again, in their division except for Calgary, and I believe San Jose will take a little bit of a step back, although Macklin Celebrini's making history.
Celebrini's not allowing that.
But what I want to say with this is, do you have a conversation with Quinn Hughes right now and saying like, where's his mind at? Because Jim Rutherford said next year deadline is really the deadline for him. But then at that point, his value is deteriorating. If the Canucks are playing like this continuously, which is, again, unstructured hockey at the moment. Obviously, we don't know what the jobs are on the line, and we know that, what's his name? Aquilini gives a lot of leeway when it comes to stuff that he wants, and we know what he wants is try to do a competitive team and obviously fail at it miserably at times. But if Hughes goes like a Kachuk mode right now, like you talk to him, like let's just say in a month, Canucks are either a similar level, slightly worse, even slightly better. And he says, listen, I don't think I'm going to be here long term. Do you explore trading him off the bat? Because his value right now will be at the highest. He has no trade protections. And even though, let's say he doesn't get traded to New Jersey, right? But he goes to a playoff team. You'll have 2 playoff runs with Quinn Hughes. Yeah, minimum, obviously. And can convince him to stay long term.
Yeah, obviously the value is at the highest and is only going to go down day by day, month by month, especially going to go even lower at next year's deadline.
Yeah.
And next year's deadline, at the end of the day, is truly the deadline. I don't think this management is stupid enough to allow this guy go for free.
Yeah.
If that does happen, as a fan perspective, I am going to burn my jersey. Ever happens, I'm just going to get that out of the way. I would actually record that if that ever happens. This is a promise, a year in the future. If that ever happens, where Quinn Hughes leaves,
I hate people doing that, and I hate you for saying that because I want to punch you in the face because
if there's a reason,
you know we're Punjabi. Paise laye.
I know, but right? I'm just saying, if there's something that will get me tempted to do it, it's Quinn Hughes leaving for free.
At least you won't do it.
Yeah, but no, okay. That's number one. Okay, yeah.
Priority number one for me. Listen, one sec. Priority number one is yes, try to get him to come here, stay here long term. If he says he wants to stay and be with the ship, 100%, you sign him then, right? But yeah, the point of the conversation is if he's like, I want to be out, I say you start trading like as soon as possible.
That's exactly what you have to do. There's no other. But and even if he says he wants to be here long term, and the team's not performing, he's gonna change his mind. So I ain't taking that his word that he wants to be here at this moment true. Like I'm not convinced by it just because this team is literally the most up and down, inconsistent mad team ever. That his mind will change if these performances continue for the Vancouver Canucks. So I'm not even taking that. So even if he says yes, I'm still exploring just as a safety option because this team has just been so up and down.
It's been crazy that like he was like 18th or something in defenseman scoring in a span of 3 games. He's now second only behind Cale Makar, who's obviously having another crazy year. But overall, we'll see what happens with the Canucks. We know they're like they're within reach, but they're also playing like one day good, one day bad, one period good, the next period bad type vibe, like we saw in Florida, right? Tampa, really good, come back, horrible first 2 periods, but then like in sunshine. In Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the Panthers, you saw the back and forth in this, but then Florida being just that good. Like we know what's gonna happen. But that's the Vancouver Canucks thing. But before we go on to close out this episode with the Canadian Olympic roster check, the deadline's being next month, we want you guys to hit the subscribe button. We drop episodes for you guys weekly, and we want to keep continuing content. Sometimes it'll be twice a week. So you do not want to miss that. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for getting us to 100 subscribers. Next goal, 200. We want to get to that hopefully by the end of this year, and we want to just keep growing and growing, and we appreciate the support that you've been providing. Comment down below, what concerns do you have for each Canadian team? Which Canadian team is the best? Rank them down below. We will engage with you in the comments whenever we get the chance to. But to close it out, let's end it on a positive note, fun perspective. We know the Olympics are coming up. We know we have a lot of, we could talk about a bunch of teams that we're focusing on. Like I said, it's the Canadian team. There's a lot of question marks for this team to get, that are fun discussions to have. Deadlines are in December, I believe, near the end of the month. And we'll probably be, again, we're going to probably do our own predicted rosters, or we want, or just a general prediction. But we mentioned Macklin Celebrini, already up there. He's up there to like top 3, top 5 in points. Connor Bedard, massive bounce back. Thank God people didn't write him, like people that are wanting to write him off compared to Celebrini are looking like idiots right now. The guy's 19 and they're already trying to like be like, oh, this guy's not a bust, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, he's not that superstar. You got Matthew Schaefer, who's not even just a Calder, like literally give him the Calder right now, but can be a Norris candidacy right there as well. You got guys like Mark Scheifele, who got snubbed last year, the biggest snub in my opinion out of all of them. You got Bo Horvat, former Vancouver Canuck, who's had a great start, and you have, I think Nick Suzuki's should be a lock this year. And for the US side, Cole Caulfield should be as well. So there's a lot of question marks that need to get this going. So ultimately, let's start.
Here's number one.
Yeah.
I think this team's going to be full of centers. I think this team's just going to be full of centers, and obviously a lot of centers playing on the winger. So here's number 2, bold prediction quickly. Yeah. I don't think Mark Scheifele's going to make it again. I think he's going to get snubbed again.
No, there's no chance. Like, I
think he's going to get snubbed again.
Scheifele and Suzuki need to get in.
I think Scheifele's going to get snubbed again.
Here's the thing, right?
That's just a feeling I have.
Okay, I'm not going to read out the Four Nations roster, but like obviously they won it. They can't run it back. That's just my personal opinion.
No, quick point 3. Yeah. I'm sorry, Travis Konechny, but you had a good time. Yeah. But yeah, you're definitely not making it.
So that being said, now keep in mind, I think they get an extra 1 or 2 spots on the roster. So it's 3 goalies. I believe it's 8 defensemen, and I think it's 12, like 13 or 14 forwards. I'm not 100% sure. But that being said, Celebrini, Bedard, one or both getting in the forward group. And who is the one if you think it's just one?
It's not one.
It should be both, is what you're saying.
If they're continuing this point production into December, they should both be a lock to make this roster. Because the upside that these guys are producing at is very high. And here's another point I want to make. They're both teenagers, and teenagers don't score at this rate unless you're Connor McDavid, unless you're Sidney Crosby or Wayne Gretzky.
If Alex Ovechkin in terms of goal scoring.
Alex Ovechkin in terms of goal scoring, yes. You don't see this rate of goal scoring or point scoring from teenagers. So because of that and the way they're playing right now, like you said, if these are the 2 biggest players.
They played their way on there.
Yeah, these are 2 biggest players that could play their way on the roster, and they have done exactly that, and they deserve that reward.
So here's the thing, right? Like ultimately, it comes down to like how they want to build a team. Like we know, like at the end of the day, you can't have a team of straight scorers. We need to have that grit thing. It's not an all-star game, right? At the end of the day,
it's not.
And I agree with you. They indeed should be in there. Do I think they're gonna do it? I think if they're gonna do it, it's gonna be, if they're gonna end up going with one, the reason it's probably Macklin Celebrini, and here's the one big factor why. Not because he had 2 great years in a row. He played in the Worlds in the summer or like the springtime after when the teams played their playoffs. Yeah. So he has the Team Canada experience playing with Crosby, and I believe McKinnon ended up going there as well, right? Like after they got eliminated.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he did. So him having that international experience, I feel like Macklin Celebrini should be a lock. However, I do believe Connor Bedard needs to be there. He needs to get the experience. I know this is not meant to be some like hand me out like field trip for him. Like, but he at the end of the day, the guy's producing. He needs to play top 6.
The hand me out would have been last year in the 4 Nations. This is not a hand me out. This is literally earned. But what he is doing right now.
That being said, you already made your bold prediction that Scheifele's not going to make it. I think he needs to get in, though he's just been that amazing.
That's just a feeling. I just don't.
I love Bo Horvat. I do not think he'll ultimately get in, even though he might be the ultimate 4th line center. Nick Suzuki should be in as a 3rd line center. Yes. Right? Like just the way he's been playing. So overall, I'm going to just quick yes or no because, Tom Wilson. That's another guy. Obviously, the concern with him is being with international rules. If he does a headshot or fight someone, he's out of the game, right? So you don't want to lose that either. But just quick yes or no, do you think these guys are going to be a lock or not out of last year's roster?
Last year's roster.
Sam Bennett.
No.
I think he just he's not a lock, but I think he'll get in because of his big game experience.
That's true, but like, yeah, he's not helping his case at
Anthony
all.
Cirelli.
No.
I don't think he's a lock either. We'll see. Then again, he's gonna have the John Cooper bias, but we'll see what ends up happening. Crosby's already a lock. Don't need to get to that. Brandon Hagel.
He's more of a lock for me than Cirelli.
Okay, fair, which is a lot of people are saying, and I know Hagel's been hurt recently. Seth Jarvis.
No.
He's in consideration, but not a lock. Konechny, I think he's just out.
I think Konechny
he should be out.
Done, yeah.
Nathan McKinnon's already a lock. Brad Marchand, I think, is a lock.
He's a lock. 100%.
The way he's been playing this year, he's a
yeah.
lock.
That's not a conversation.
Mitch Marner, I think, is a lock. Connor McDavid's already in. Braden Point's already in. Sam Reinhart's already in. Mark Stone. He, before his injury, was playing well, so it depends on the injury status. He did look a little slow last year, but then you need the penalty killing type guy there, which I know you have with Marner as well.
It's not a lock.
Reinhart,
it's not a lock, but I'm leaning towards
he's in the
making
higher
it.
consideration. Yeah. So that's the forward group for the most part. So there's a lot of consideration there. We both believe Bedard and Macklin celebrating get in. So if we're saying that Travis Konechny gets out, one will fill that spot, one gets in.
But you also look at Nick Suzuki as well.
But I'm looking, and Nick Suzuki. So let's just say Nick Suzuki for sure for, who did I say again? Travis Konechny.
Yeah.
Those two guys are the extras. I say you go with those two guys. As good that's been played. I will not be upset. I think Scheifele needs to get in one way or another. I'm just saying that right now.
It's going to be extremely.
I know you made a bold prediction. You're not hoping for that to happen.
Yeah.
But it's going to be extremely disappointing if Scheifele does not find his way on this roster. Defensively, here's the biggest one. Matthew Schaefer at 18 years old. 1, should he be in? 2, do you think he will get in? And 3, we'll do the same process again because I don't know what other defensemen really played their way into this roster compared to last year.
Well, you're going to have Alex Pietrangelo not be on it.
He's not even on it on this one.
No, from last year.
Yeah, he wasn't even on it.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He opted out.
Yeah, he opted out. Never mind. I think Harley came in as a replacement for
I feel like he's going to be in.
someone, right?
All the predictions I've
Who
seen.
did Harley come in for? Who got hurt?
Shea Theodore.
Oh, Shea Theodore,
And
yeah.
Shea Theodore's a lock.
Shea Theodore's a lock. So
Obviously, the only lock right now is Cale Makar. We know that.
Yeah, but Taze, Makar, obviously that's
100%.
the first pairing.
Josh Morrissey,
Shea
Drew Doughty. I think he's going to be a
He's
lock.
going to get in, yes.
And then, that being said, then it's Travis Anaheim, Colton Parayko, Thomas Harley.
So you're probably looking at...
And keep in mind... And
Harley's going to be in. So you're looking at Sanheim and Parayko.
Who've been good.
Where Schaefer could definitely replace one of those two for sure.
But not the production, but like the style of Parayko and Sanheim is the question. Like Parayko being the big body guy. Like, listen, defense was not really the biggest problem for Canada last year.
No.
Not necessarily. Like, to the point where I'm seeing a lot of the predictions I've seen so far have literally this going in. However, in my opinion, Schaefer has played his way into the conversation in his rookie year.
100%.
The question is, do you want an 18-year-old going in right now? Because we know he's a lock in 4 years. He's probably a lock in 2 years when it comes to the World Cup of Hockey.
Yeah.
Right? In your opinion, should Schaefer get in if he continues to playing like this?
I think he has a case. I think he should get in. Yeah, I just don't... Well, technically, don't think it... Is there...
I think it's 8 total, and this is 8 right here.
That's 8 already there?
Yeah, because this is 8 including Thomas Harley with Shea Theodore in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, do I think it's a tougher route for him? Yes.
I think it's tougher for him to get in than Bedard and...
But I think he's definitely played his way into that conversation for sure. So I do believe that.
But it's fun to have this. It's really fun to have. It's good
good
problems to have. It's going to be fun discussions as we keep going into this thing.
Let's go to the issue here.
All right.
Let's go to it.
Listen, this shouldn't be an issue. Here's the thing. The goalies last year were Jordan Binnington, Aiden Hill, Sam Montembeault. Listen, as much as I do not want to put Jordan Binnington on this team, we know he's going to get in. He look from what he did last year, and he's probably going to be the starter.
I'm already getting riled up because you already know what I'm going to say.
Okay, Aiden Hill and Sam Montembeault should not be on this team this year.
That's number one.
So that being said, for me, Logan Thompson better be a lock, and I know where you're going to go with it.
Yeah.
It better not be
This guy's leading the league again in goals against average.
Yeah.
Like he was last year in the beginning. Bro, it's not a conversation who the starter should be for Team Canada.
Yeah.
It's Logan freaking Thompson. It's not a conversation. Scott Wedgwood has been playing better than Jordan Binnington.
Darcy Kemper.
Darcy Kemper.
Blackwood.
Look, at the end of the day, last year was bullshit. It's simple as this. And I get it. Jordan Binnington came in the most clutch moment in that overtime and played one of the best overtime periods I've seen a goaltender play in just like in my lifetime potentially as well. But if you're telling me this, that playing good hockey, playing at the NHL level, playing well, doesn't get you a roster spot last year for Logan Thompson. And last year you had Binnington play decent, Aiden Hill play decent, even Montembeault play decent, right? So
This year,
this year is not an excuse. It's
Baltimore
not
has
an
been not
excuse.
good.
It's literally not an excuse. One, if this guy doesn't make the roster, I was more pissed last year when Thompson didn't make it over Scheifele, even though I probably shouldn't be. But this year, I'm definitely gonna be. Look, I am saying this as a fan, and I'm saying this as a team, a guy that wants to.
And as a proper analyst too.
The best chance you have at winning the Olympics is having Logan Thompson starting between your pipes.
This is what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now. He's going to make the roster. I think you're not going to disagree with that. At the end of the day, he's going to get on. Should he get on is a different conversation, right? You agree with that?
What do you mean? Like, he should be on the roster, yeah.
No, I'm saying but based on play, he shouldn't be on the roster is what I'm saying. But
you're talking about Binnington?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But based on what he did last year, he's going to get on the roster.
Yeah, and he might
You're
start.
going to agree with that? No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he's going to end up starting game 1. Remember 2010? Brodeur started the first 2 or 3 games, struggled, and then Luongo came in the day. I think Carey Price played from the beginning, so it's a different conversation.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going to end up happening, where Binnington is going to start.
They cut Binnington a lot of slack last year.
Yeah.
And they gave him the whole ride. But this year, this guy has to be on a short leash. And to be fair, like, at the end of it, I understand. I won't hate the decision of game 1, you had Jordan Binnington starting.
Yeah.
But
if you're wondering, these are the groups right now, if you're wondering.
Czech Republic game's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Swiss.
And that's gonna be a big test right there. But if this guy lets in a bad goal, or is a reason like last year where Sweden came back in that third period because Binnington couldn't freaking figure out how to save a puck.
Yeah.
Logan Thompson has to
step in. So with that being
right
said, though,
also another goalie that's playing really good this year. Obviously, has to be American as Spencer Knight, but that adds to their.
We'll talk about like those surprising teams in the next episode, most likely. But yeah, no, goaltending wise, he's gonna get in, but he shouldn't. And it's just a weird situation where like, do you break something fix something that's not broken? By the end of the day, you gotta look at the current roster. Like again, we say this every year. Development, growth, season after season is not linear. There are some players that will take a big step forward. There are some players that will stay the same, and there are some players that will take a step back. And Binnington right now has taken a massive step back. It's kind of like his rookie year when he won the Cup with the Blues and took a massive step back the next 1 or 2 years. That's what this is right now with Jordan Binnington.
Thompson also leads, even though it's like 0.01, he also leads the league in save percentage as well.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we know who should go. He needs to be on the roster. So for sure, we're like penciling it in right now. It should be Binnington. Thompson, for me, it's Kemper.
I agree.
Right now.
Even though Wedgwood has been amazing.
Wedgwood, Blackwood, like they've been fine as well. They've been really good, not just fine. They've been really good. But overall, we'll see what ends up happening. But these are our overall thoughts. It's a fun conversation to have. Stay tuned. And once again, we're going to keep talking as we keep approaching the Olympics, especially with the roster considerations coming in. And we get to react to other rosters as well. Not just Sweden, Finland, Canada, USA, but like Switzerland, and see what Oilers and all of them do, right? But overall, that pretty much wraps it up for us. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, comment down below your thoughts about today's episode, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.